Big Data: Mining and Measuring Big Data for Information and Intelligence. Written by David Feldspar. Narrated by Jason R. Gray. Introduction. Big data has become a new buzzword in the IT industry. Everyone is talking about it and repeatedly using it to impress others, even if they themselves don't really know what it means. It is often used out of context and more as a marketing gimmick. This book aims to explain what big data really is and how it will be useful in solving problems. Physics and mathematics calculations can give us the exact distance from the east coast of the USA to the west coast, accurate to about 1 yard. This is a phenomenal achievement and has been applied to various technologies in our daily life. But the challenge comes in when you have data which is not static, which is constantly changing, and changing at a rate, and in volumes which are humongous to determine in real time. The only way we can process this data is by using computers. IBM data scientists break big data into 4 dimensions: volume, variety, velocity, and veracity. But there are many more aspects of it. Big data can be described by the following characteristics. Volume is the size of the data which determines the value and potential of the data under consideration, and whether it can actually be considered as big data or not. Variety means that the category to which the data belongs to is also a very essential fact that needs to be known by the data analysts. This helps the people who are closely analyzing the data and are associated with it to effectively use the data to their advantage, and thus upholding the importance of the data. Velocity refers to how fast the data is generated and processed to be useful. Variability of the data can also be a problem for the analysts. Veracity is the quality of the data being captured. Accurate analysis depends on the veracity of the source data. Analogies. One analogy for big data analysis is to compare your data to a large lake. Trying to get an accurate size of this lake down to the last gallon or ounce is virtually impossible. Now, let's assume that you have built a big water counting machine. You feed all of the water in the lake through your big water counting machine, and it tells you the number of ounces of water in the lake for that point of time. You need to find the person with the suitcase of money, or value, but there are many people, or volume, all walking at various speeds running to work, or velocity, from all walks of life, or variety. Some are crooks, or veracity. Importance and benefits. One of the major reasons why we need big data is for prediction and analysis. One of the best examples where big data can be seen in action, the Large Hadron Collider experiment, in which about 150 million sensors deliver data 40 million times per second. After filtering and refraining from recording more than 99.999% of these streams, there are 100 collisions of interest per second. Another important example is Facebook, which handles over 50 billion user photos. Healthcare is another area where big data can play a significant role. One of the most amazing examples is Google Flu Trends, which analyzes search data from various locations and uses the data analysis to identify patterns of influenza epidemics and endemics around the world. Although this data is not necessarily accurate or may have a lot of false positives, it highlights the potential of what such data can show you. Big data and its importance for an enterprise. In IT terminology, big data is defined as a collection of datasets which are so complex and large that the data cannot be easily captured, stored, searched, shared, analyzed, or visualized using available tools. In global markets, such big data mostly appears during attempts to identify business trends from available datasets. Other areas where big data continually appears include various fields of research, including the human genome and the environment. The limitations caused by big data significantly affect the business informatics, finance markets, and internet search results. The processing of big data requires specialized software capable of coordinating parallel processing on thousands of servers simultaneously. The importance of such large datasets cannot be overstressed, specifically with regard to businesses operating in periods of uncertainty, where the swift processing of market data to support decision-making may be the difference between survival and extinction. However, the effects of the double-dip recession in Europe would affect markets all over the world. In such a situation, it is natural for companies all over the world to focus on the use of big data to gain a competitive edge. As the processing of these datasets is beyond the scope of most companies operating individually, hence, a collaborative framework is expected to emerge, with companies operating different sections of the new data analytics process, and sharing the results obtained from processing such data. In a world where smartphones outsell personal computers, big data analytics is expected to be the next big thing, with US, European, and various Asian companies investing significantly in the field. The current data sources for big data includes, but is not limited to, buyer information from retailers, information posted by individuals on social networking sites, as well as historic enterprise data from production and sales. As big data is generated through the interaction of multiple factors, advances in the analytics of large datasets are expected to result in the introduction of techniques capable of handling more and more variables using available computing resources. Recently publicized commercial uses of big data. Recent examples included the targeted marketing of baby products by the US-based retailer Target, which used these emerging techniques to determine customers who would require baby care products in the near future based on their purchase patterns. The source of the data was the information collected by Target from its customers during previous visits to their outlets. Each buyer is assigned an ID number in Target's database, and their purchases are tracked. This information was processed and leveraged by Target in order to predict customer buying patterns and design targeted marketing campaigns. Additional sources of these datasets for use by business intelligence solutions include information available on public forums, social networking sites such as Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, as well as the digital shadows left by our visits to websites. Such data is analyzed by Amazon and correlated with the product analysis, searches, and reviews of other individuals to generate more accurate product recommendations for visitors to its online shopping website. Apart from business use, the capability to collect, classify, and analyze such large data quantities would also be crucial for the healthcare industry by helping the identification and analysis of drug interactions, personal medical as well as social and economic factors which affect the outcome of treatments. The analysis of big data refers to a new world of data science, which Cisco estimates will be comprised of about 10 billion Internet-enabled devices. The road ahead for market growth. Though industry analysts and experts agree that big data is the next revolution in the field of data analytics, however, how the trend is to be expanded is still a topic of much debate. Current suggestions to promote growth of the field include establishment of special courses to impart the necessary skills, inclusion of these analytic techniques as a paper in applied sciences courses, government-led initiatives with industry partnership to generate awareness among the public, increase in R&D grants provided for improving current big data initiatives. These are only few of the suggestions which would help this emerging analytics market develop into the future of all data analytics across multiple industries. Much interest in big data, but there are fewer companies investing in it. The big data has become a crucial element for companies. Companies have to be able to accumulate data, make better business decisions, and be able to anticipate the needs of its customers and request that they have service and new products. The data have become a sort of element that can make the success or failure of a company and its strategy. But the data are not available to everyone, or at least that's what it seems at first glance. Large companies, those with both muscle and reach, manage to accumulate much more data and are in a more privileged position than that occupied by smaller companies that do not have easy access to information and they do not have it so easy to accumulate data. It is a somewhat logical question. As the size of a company grows, so does its potential number of customers and their actual customers, which makes potential data at your fingertips much greater, and the possibilities that can develop when playing with the data even higher. The issue is not limited to data and possibly having access to it, but also is marked by another element, the monetary. In order to succeed in the world of big data, brands have to make a prior investment. Expenses are varied and touch many areas as companies need to sign specific talent. They need to make an investment in technology infrastructure. Even though cloud prices have come down, brands need room to store all that data and need also the technology required to read and manage that data. The investment has grown, but not interested companies. All this means that despite everything, there is a border between those who can and those who are unable to take the benefits of big data. There is more to look at, in fact. The latest study by Gartner on the issue, the overall growth of investment, showing that this tool has great potential for businesses. What do the numbers say? As noted in the findings of Gartner, investment in big data continues to grow, although starting to show signs of a shrinking market. And although investment is on the rise, the number of companies willing to invest in this tool is going down. Overall, 48% of companies have invested in big data for 2016, representing an increase of 3% over the previous year. If you look who plans to do so in the near future, things are not so buoyant. The percentage of companies planning to invest has fallen from 31% in 2015 to 26% in 2016. The key is what? Why have they decided to reduce their investment and are not as enthusiastic as in the past? The key may be in the technology itself, paradoxically. The investment in big data is growing, but the study shows signs of a slowdown with fewer companies considering investing in the future, says Nick Hudecker, research director at Gartner. The problem is not so much data as to what use, he says. That is, the brands have understood everything you have told about how important the data is, but once you have passed that stage, they've been stalled. They do not know what these data are and how to use them. Although companies have realized that the big data is not just about a particular technology, they need to avoid thinking about the tool as a separate effort, said Nick Hudecker. The marks are still in a kind of nebula, in which they know that the data is good for some things, they don't have a clear general use, and above all, how they can integrate it crosswise. Companies should use a holistic approach to efforts, but have not yet managed to cross that border. Brands are stuck in the pilot phase. Perhaps for this reason, brands have been stuck at the beginning of the story. Companies have been in the early part of big data and have not gone beyond. They've failed to leave the beta. 3/4 of the companies surveyed by Gartner are, in fact, investing or have invested in big data, but most are still stuck in pilot development. Only 15% have come up with the production stage, and only 14% have a strategy and implementation so solid that has not had to change in the past year. And like a snake biting its own tail, all these realities are closely related. This impacts all of the above, and this happens because the marks are not prioritizing data as well as other issues. Only 11% said their investments in big data are as important or more important than the rest of investments made in IT. 46% puts them on less important. The fact that they may not see a clear ROI of this investment makes companies even less enthusiastic in their spending on big data. How big data helps small and mid-sized businesses. Big data is really big and something beyond your imagination. If you are overlooking the importance of this burgeoning data, you are unfortunately at the bad end. Times have changed, and businesses across the board are leveraging this data to make best use out of their investments. These technology tools are getting simpler with each passing day, allowing enterprises to meet their intended business objectives. These user-friendly tools are paired up with a trail of rich features, making data curation, storage, and analysis easier. But now it's time for SMBs to take their best foot forward to seize big data potential before their competitors do. Before digging out the benefits of big data for SMBs, let's get acquainted with its definition. This large volume of data includes various data types such as emails, social media content, CCTV videos, activity logs, business transactions, photographs, including an enormous amount of data collected through sensors and other devices. Typically, when big data is described, experts make use of the term 3 V's, wherein V stands for volume, variety, and velocity. Most of the small and medium-scale businesses confess that they don't actually understand or use this. Now, let's take a quick look at the traits of big data that can help SMBs to transform and thrive in today's data-driven world. The opportunities delivered by this enormous amount of data are numerous. It provides an ability to businesses to learn from your business data to make smarter decisions. By analyzing this data, SMBs can perform the following actions: discover who their most valuable customers are, gain insight into their competitors' actions, track the changing market trends, figure out the ways that can help them augment their business processes, know about your valuable customers. By leveraging big data, SMBs can access a complete portfolio of their customers and at a very granular level, such as who they are, what are their buying practices, and what made them order specific products or services. Big data can help small-scale companies to ensure tailored experiences for their valued customers. Right from the moment the customer first contacted your business to the post-sales service delivered by the company, all can be tracked within a jiffy. This information will definitely let SMBs design and market their offerings in such a way that more and more customers can opt for it and make your business a real success. Slash down customer churn. It can also help acquaint you with the number of customers that chose your offerings in a specific time frame and when they discontinued. Such details will help you understand the reasons for their products and services discontinuation. Social media to understand customers. Social media is one of the best platforms used by millions of users to share their understandings and feelings. Small and mid-sized businesses can use this data to comprehend what they say about their offerings. It is inevitable for all size companies to fathom the importance of big data and employ technologies to make smarter decisions. Top big data inhibiting factors. Big data is the art and science of collecting large datasets, unstructured video, emails, sensor reports, and logs, through conventional and digital sources to determine market trends and partners. This information is processed and analyzed by companies to improve their decision-making so they can hook themselves to the right path that brings maximum opportunities and limited risks to their organization. However, one unfortunate reality is big data has lots of enemies. Data is plural of the word datum. The interpretation of big data done by experts is something like an amount of data which is difficult to curate, process, or analyze through relational databases, owing to its burgeoning size, created by the Internet of Things, or IoT, including machine-generated and transactional processes. However, the question that hits the mind is why this big data is so difficult to be managed and what factors are acting as a roadblock to this business essential data. This chapter will highlight some of the opponents of big data. IT infrastructure. Technology plays a principal role in the augmentation of the world economy. However, at times, it also puts a knob to certain good things. Technology itself is one of the big data issues. How? To put it simply, the incompetency of IT architecture to integrate elements and data models makes it a problem. Today, the biggest problem is the increasing variance of data types and repository systems that make IT architecture to keep data seamless and updated around the clock. The architecture should be planned and designed accordingly to meet data veracity and data silos challenges. Additionally, it is indispensable to determine data redundancies and gaps in order to bring the right data management and governance strategies in operations. Unaware data scientists. There is no denying the fact that big data has helped many organizations and individuals to move to the higher level. And now, these people have started calling themselves the data scientists. Unfortunately, this has created a mess where they are deriving their own conclusions and explaining their suppositions to others. This is a big problem as they apply statistical techniques without understanding its functionality. Remember, the potential of this evolving data is umpteen, and those who make the right implementations can leverage its benefits. Dearth of resources. The other problem allied with big data is the lack of analysts that can analyze the data, draw the right conclusions, and help businesses of all sizes to take pragmatic decisions on the basis of data. Research states that big data and analytics will change the face of the companies in the approaching few years. There is a lack of data analytics professionals who can handle, analyze, and draw insights from this data. That is why many universities have gone a step ahead to run specialized analytics courses. It is expected that this approach will gradually bridge the gap. It is important that organizations should hunt for right talents, or analytics experts, that can help them draw analytics frameworks and address various business challenges in an astute manner. Addiction to conventional approaches. Every business strives to find ways that can help them innovate. Usually, they consider their past records and strategies to initiate their future operations. It is true that by leveraging analytics, companies can grow big with the help of strategic decision-making. However, the biggest problem here is integrating analytics to a reluctant mindset that is cautious to change and is complacent with conventional legacy systems. Until the time this approach changes, adoption of analytics cannot be completed. In this regard, forward-looking business leaders should put their efforts to encourage their company to make analytics-driven decisions. Data segmentation. Another challenge that comes with big data is its management. Every day, huge volumes of data is generated, which IT professionals feel is difficult to manage. To put it simply, companies command their IT professionals to locate where their data resides and determine how it can be best utilized. The issue with IT experts is that they are lost in the black hole. The amount of data is so high that they do not know which direction to head. At times, data is not properly classified at the point of creation, which implies companies will have no idea of knowing which way they are heading towards, or seeking sales, customer details, and profiles. This is the reason why it is important to classify the data according to its types, so the right things can be done at the right moment. Equally, it is essential to determine which data will be most needed in the near future. Why big data and Hadoop training is a must for organizations. Business has never been a cakewalk, and it consists of lots of information, data, and other skills. With the technological advancements, professionals and learners need to keep themselves updated and match the pace. For example, sorting and tracking big data requires skilled manpower. If sources are to be believed, there are institutes which have started offering big data and Hadoop training. Both professionals and newbie learners are looking for these trainings for their career betterment. This chapter is about why big data and Hadoop training is important and where one can avail themselves of these courses. Well, to start with, big data is one terminology that explains a huge volume of data. Big data is both structured and unstructured data which enter to any business on a day-to-day basis. At the same time, one can easily differentiate the numbers of data they can actually count on. Most important thing is what the organizations will do with this data. Companies prefer analyzing those data and get all the insights which can lead them to make the better decisions and accomplish the business moves with the right strategy. Thus, big data plays an important role for any organization for the development of that particular organization. At the same time, Hadoop is an open-source software platform for collecting data and running various applications in bulk for serving hardware. Hadoop is one of the most effective sources that offers huge data storage of different kinds of data. This open-source platform has the ability of enormous processing authority and has the capability to control limitless synchronized jobs. Are you looking for big data and Hadoop training? Then you have landed on the right book. As per different sources, there are different organizations which have started offering different Hadoop courses for Hadoop Developer, Hadoop Admin, and Hadoop Data Analytics. Thus, enrollment can be done according to preference areas and as per the professional requirements. All you need to do is just contact the Institute and ask for the preferred courses, and these short-term strategic professional courses will be just the best in shaping your career graph. Most of these organizations have their own live support and drop a query form for the sake of communication. Thus, if you think your organization is lacking data socking and restoration, then Big Data and Hadoop training is the most effective. If you are located in Delhi NCR, then you can also search for Big Data and Hadoop training for better communication and traveling. 5 reasons why businesses should know the importance of big data. The ones who are in business or planning to be in the same must be thinking what will be the relevance of big data to business and how can it help in an effective running of businesses. Well, innumerable people believe that big data is needed in a few particular fields. However, that's only a myth. Instead, it is free from any boundaries and can aid in every business's inside-out operation. Reasons that validate the importance of big data. Big data operates irrespective of any field or size of business, as management and collection are done in every field, thus making it more accessible. Let's get an insight at the reasons that validate the importance of big data into businesses. Data is an asset to the business. Every business generates the data, be it large or small. All the activities generate data, and a proper strategy is needed to store this data. The amount of data can be huge or less, but a proper strategy can help the business to manage it the right way by collecting, using, and protecting it. This indicates that the companies that believed big data is not meant for them will now be able to use it and understand its importance. Collecting better market and customer data. Customer and market trends are the few important factors for the business to be kept in mind in order to gain success. Every company manages data to understand moods of their customer that tend to change with time. Hence, big data analytics can be useful in getting a better understanding about the needs of customers, their usage demands, and what they would be buying in the future. Improvement of internal operation and efficiency. Businesses also have to focus on the data of their employees. That includes optimization of services delivered, tracking performance, and even the recruitment of suitable candidates, all of which can be done with the help of big data. This can help the business to let them improve the internal efficiency in varied departments. Effective financial trading. Financial transactions are also an important factor for companies, as it leads to economic growth of the organization. Financial trading between the companies and clients can be handled well with the help of big data analytics, as it handles the algorithms required for the account-related purposes. Understanding business processes. The optimization of business processes can now be done more easily. Retailers can maximize their stock based on the data predictions given by social media. Supply chain and delivery routes can now be optimized with the help of this technique. The HR department of the organizations are also being benefited with hiring the right talent. It also measures the amount of employee engagement with its tools. Hence, big data analysis is not confined to certain counted fields, but enlarging its horizon of services and quantifying itself to a larger scale. If used properly, it can affect the businesses to an unexpected extent, and giving more and more growth opportunities. The candidates who have a great knowledge of the tools used in big data analysis are in great demand. But for this, they need to have the knowledge of the software that can help in this task. One of the best software that suits their requirement is Hadoop, and a formal training of the same can be extremely fruitful. The top 2 concerns of big data Hadoop implementation. According to IBM, we create 2.5 quintillion bytes of data every day. This data originates from all spheres of activity and everywhere. To name just a few, data comes from sensors, social media sites, digital pictures, weblogs, and transaction records of online purchases, etc. In general, data can be classified into 3 categories. Any data which can be stored in databases can be called structured data. For example, transaction records of online purchases can be stored in databases. Hence, it can be called structured data. Some data can be partially stored in databases, which can be called semi-structured data. For example, the data on XML records can be partially stored in databases, and it can be called as semi-structured data. The other forms of data which will not fit into these 2 categories are called unstructured data. To name a few, data from social media sites and weblogs cannot be stored, analyzed, and processed in databases. Therefore, it is categorized as unstructured data. The other term used for unstructured data is big data. According to NASSCOM, structured data accounts for 10% of the total data that exists today in the Internet. 10% of the rest is semi-structured data, and the remaining 80% of data comes from unstructured data. In general, organizations use analysis of structured and semi-structured data using traditional data analytics tools. There were no sophisticated tools available to analyze the unstructured data until the MapReduce framework was developed by Google. Later, Apache developed a framework called Hadoop, which analyzes all this data and reveals information which will be of great help to businesses to make better decisions. Hadoop has already proved its importance in several areas. For example, according to NASSCOM, many organizations have started using big data analytics. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, and the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, and several pharmaceutical and energy companies have started using big data analytics extensively to predict their customers' behavior. According to recent research from the Numeratis Group, organizations perceive value in big data analytics and planning to have a better leverage in reaping the benefits of big data analytics. The New York Times is using big data tools for text analysis, and the Walt Disney Company uses it to correlate and understand customer behavior in all of its stores and theme parks. Indian IT companies such as TCS, Wipro, Infosys, and other key players have also started to reap the immense potential which big data continues to offer. This clearly shows that big data is an emerging area, and many companies have started to explore new opportunities. Meanwhile, using big data is proving to be worthwhile, but at the same time, it may also be noted that privacy and data protection concerns have also risen. The concern about big data analytics is very much valid from the viewpoint of privacy. Let me give a very simple example. Nowadays, I am very much sure that most of us use social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, and many other social forums. And most of us watch videos on YouTube. Imagine these websites using big data analytical tools to identify your activity on the Internet, to analyze data, your search behavior, and the content you have watched in social media. Through big data, your activity on social media forums can be clearly identified. This is a blatant violation of your privacy. Further, just imagine the organization is sharing that data from the analysis to a few marketing agencies. This, in turn, creates more privacy issues. Now let's discuss things from the data protection perspective. As usual, big data is stored in cloud environments. It means that the data is distributed over the network and stored somewhere around the globe. Let's give an example. Let's say you reside in the United Kingdom and access some social media website, and your data, including your profile, may be stored in a country in Asia or in some other country. If the social media website decides to sell some of that data, including your data, to a marketing agency, they will be in a position to gain complete access to your profile, including your phone number. If the marketing agency tracks the geolocation of the phone number, they will be in a position to record your complete movement right from the time you leave your house and move on to your friend's house, when you leave your house for work, and even your visit to your lover will be recorded. Armed with this data, advertisers may use it for things to their advantage, according to the regular routine adopted by you every day. And they can also locate you and promote their ventures wherever you are. It clearly shows that data protection is another major concern with big data analytics. Several lawmakers and regulators around the globe have voiced their concern about big data analytics. Organizations such as Consumer Watchdog have also raised apprehensions about privacy and data protection connected with big data analytics. According to a report from Gartner, 41% of consumers say they would be concerned about privacy if they were to use mobile location services so they can receive more targeted offers through advertising or loyalty programs. Big data is a great tool, and it can open more avenues and great opportunities to organizations. The extraordinary benefits of big data should not be tampered by concerns over privacy and data protection. The good aspect is, many organizations are clearly aware and have beforehand information regarding this issue. Some of the organizations have started to share the intent of data collections to the consumers. Some organizations have updated their privacy policies on their websites to share the intent of their data collection strategy. Besides the Cloud Security Alliance, or CSA, a consortium of technology companies and public sector agencies have launched the Big Data Working Group, which is working to find suitable solutions to data-centric and privacy problems. Therefore, hopefully, these two major issues will be addressed, and benefits of big data analysis will be put to great use, and the immense potential it offers will be harnessed in the coming days. How big data can help your organization outperform your peers. Big data has a lot of potential to benefit organizations in any industry, everywhere across the globe. Big data is much more than just a lot of data, and especially combining different data sets will provide organizations with real insights that can be used in the decision-making and to improve the financial position of an organization. Before we can understand how big data can help your organization, let's see what big data actually is. It is generally accepted that big data can be explained according to the 3 V's: velocity, variety, and volume. However, I would like to add a few more V's to better explain the impact and implication of a well-thought-through big data strategy. Velocity. The velocity is the speed at which data is created, stored, analyzed, and visualized. In the past, when batch processing was common practice, it was normal to receive an update to the database every night, or even every week. Computers and servers required substantial time to process the data and update their databases. In the big data era, data is created in real time, or near real time. With the availability of internet-connected devices, wireless or wired, machines and devices can pass on their data the moment it is created. The speed at which data is currently created is almost unimaginable. Every minute, we upload 100 hours of video to YouTube. In addition, over 200 million emails are sent every minute, and around 20 million photos are viewed, and 30,000 uploaded on Flickr. Almost 300,000 tweets are sent, and almost 2.5 million queries on Google are performed. The challenge organizations have to cope with is the enormous speed the data is created and to use it in real time. Variety. In the past, all data that was created was structured data. It neatly fitted into columns and rows. But those days are over. Nowadays, 90% of the data that is generated by organizations is unstructured data. Data today comes in several different formats: structured data, semi-structured data, unstructured data, and even complex structured data. The wide variety of data requires a different approach, as well as different techniques, to store all that raw data. There are many different types of data, and each of those types of data require different types of analysis or different tools to use. Social media, like Facebook posts or tweets, can give different insights, such as sentiment analysis on your brand, while sensory data will give you information about how a product is used and what the mistakes are. Volume. 90% of all data ever created was created in the past 2 years. From now on, the amount of data in the world will double every 2 years. By 2020, we will have 50 times the amount of data as what we had in 2011. The sheer volume of the data is enormous, and a very large contributor to the ever-expanding digital universe is the Internet of Things. With sensors all over the world, in all devices, creating data every second. If we look at airplanes, they generate approximately 2.5 terabytes of data each year from the sensors installed in their engines. Also, the agricultural industry generates massive amounts of data with sensors installed in tractors. John Deere, for example, uses sensor data to monitor machine optimization, control the growing fleet of farming machines, and help farmers make better decisions. Shell uses super-sensitive sensors to find additional oil in wells. And if they install these sensors at all 10,000 wells, they will collect approximately 10 exabyte of data annually. That again is absolutely nothing if we compare it to the Square Kilometer Array telescope that will generate 1 exabyte of data per day. In the past, the creation of so much data would have caused serious problems. Nowadays, with decreasing storage costs, better storage options like Hadoop, and the algorithms to create meaning from all that data, this is not a problem at all. Veracity. Having a lot of data in different volumes coming in at high speed is worthless if that data is incorrect. Incorrect data can cause a lot of problems for organizations as well as for consumers. Therefore, organizations need to ensure that the data is correct, as well as the analysis performed on the data are correct. Especially in automated decision-making, where no human is involved anymore, you need to be sure that both the data and the analysis are correct. If you want your organization to become information-centric, you should be able to trust that data as well as the analysis. Shockingly, 1 in 3 business leaders do not trust the information they use in decision-making. Therefore, if you want to develop a big data strategy, you should strongly focus on the correctness of the data as well as the correctness of the analysis. Variability. Big data is extremely variable. Brian Hopkins, a Forrester principal analyst, defines variability as the variance in meaning in lexicon. He refers to the supercomputer Watson who won Jeopardy! The supercomputer had to dissect an answer into its meaning and to figure out what the right question was. That is extremely difficult because words have different meanings and it all depends on the context. For the right answer, Watson had to understand the context. Variability is often confused with variety. Say you have a bakery that sells 10 different breads. That is variety. Now, imagine you go to that bakery 3 days in a row, and every day you buy the same type of bread. But each day it tastes and smells different. That is variability. Variability is thus very relevant in performing sentiment analysis. Variability means that the meaning is changing rapidly. In almost the same tweets, a word can have a totally different meaning. In order to perform a proper sentiment analysis, algorithms need to be able to understand the context and be able to decipher the exact meaning of a word in that context. This is still very difficult. Visualization. This is the hard part of big data. Making all that vast amount of data comprehensible in a manner that is easy to understand and read. With the right visualizations, raw data can be put to use. Visualizations, of course, do not mean ordinary graphs or pie charts. They mean complex graphs that can include many variables of data while still remaining understandable and readable. Visualizing might not be the most technologically difficult part. It sure is the most challenging part. Telling a complex story in a graph is very difficult, but also extremely crucial. Luckily, there are more and more big data startups appearing that focus on this aspect, and in the end, visualizations will make the difference. Value. All that available data will create a lot of value for organizations, societies, and consumers. Big data means big business, and every industry will reap the benefits from big data. McKinsey states that potential annual value of big data to U.S. healthcare is $300 billion, more than double the total annual healthcare spending of Spain. They also mention that big data has a potential value of 250 billion euros to the European Public Sector Administration. Even more, in their well-regarded report from 2011, they state that the potential annual consumer surplus from using personal location data globally can be up to $600 billion in 2020. That is a lot of value. Of course, data in itself is not valuable at all. The value is in the analysis done on that data, and how that data is turned into information, and eventually turning it into knowledge. The value is in how organizations will use that data and turn their organization into an information-centric company that bases their decision-making on insights derived from data analysis. Use cases. Now that the definition of big data is clear, let's take a look at the different potential use cases. Of course, for each industry and each individual type of organization, the possible use cases differs. There are, however, also a few generic big data use cases that show the possibilities of big data for your organization. 1. Truly get to know your customers, all of them, in real time. In the past, we used focus groups and questionnaires to find out who our customers were. This was always outdated the moment the results came in. With big data, this is not necessary anymore. Big data allows companies to completely map the DNA of its customers. Knowing the customer well is the key to being able to sell to them effectively. The benefits of really knowing your customers are that you can give recommendations or show advertising that is tailored to their individual needs. 2. Co-create, improve, and innovate your products real time. Big data analytics can help organizations gain a better understanding of what customers think of their products or services. Through listening on social media what people say about a product, it can give more information about it than with a traditional questionnaire. Especially if it is measured in real time, companies can act upon possible issues immediately. Not only can the sentiment about products be measured, but also how that differs among different demographic groups or in different geographical locations at different times. 3. Determine how much risk your organization faces. Determining the risk a company faces is an important aspect of today's businesses. In order to define the risk of a potential customer or supplier, a detailed profile of the customer can be made and place it in a certain category, each with its own risk levels. Currently, this process is often too broad and vague, and quite often a customer or supplier is placed in the wrong category and thereby receiving a wrong risk profile. A too high risk profile is not that harmful apart from lost income, but a too low risk profile could seriously damage an organization. With big data, it is possible to determine a risk category for each individual customer or supplier, based on all of their data from the past, and present it in real time. 4. Personalize your website and pricing in real time toward individual customers. Companies have used split tests and A/B tests for some years now to define the best layout for their customers in real time. With big data, this process will change forever. Many different web metrics can be analyzed constantly and in real time, as well as combined. This will allow companies to have a fluid system where the look, feel, and layout change to reflect multiple influencing factors. It will be possible to give each individual visitor a website specially tailored to his or her wishes and needs at that exact moment. A returning customer might see another web page a week or month later, depending on his or her personal needs for that moment. 5. Improve your service support for your customers. With big data, it is possible to monitor machines from great distance and check how they are performing. Using telematics, each different part of a machine can be monitored in real time. Data will be sent to the manufacturer and stored for real-time analysis. Each vibration, noise, or error gets detected automatically. And when the algorithm detects a deviation from normal operation, service support can be warned. The machine can even schedule automatically maintenance at a time when the machine is not in use. When the engineer comes to fix the machine, he knows exactly what to do, due to all the information available. 6. Find new markets and new business opportunities by combining your own data with public data. Companies can also discover unmet customer desires using big data. By doing pattern and/or regression analysis on your own data, you might find needs and wishes of customers you did not know were present. Combining various datasets can give whole new meanings to existing data and allow organizations to find new markets, target groups, or business opportunities it was previously not yet aware of. 7. Better understand your competitors and, more importantly, stay ahead of them. What you can do for your own organization can also be done, more or less, for your competition. It will help organizations better understand the competition and know where they stand. It can provide a valuable head start. Using big data analytics, algorithms can find out, for example, if a competitor changes its pricing, and automatically adjust your prices as well to stay competitive. 8. Organize your company more effectively and save money. By analyzing all of the data in your organization, you may find areas that can be improved and can be organized better. Especially the logistics industry can become more efficient using the new big data sources available in the supply chain. Electronic onboard recorders in trucks tell us where they are, how fast they drive, where they drive, etc. Sensors and RF tags in trailers and distribution help onload and offload trucks more efficiently. And combining road conditions, traffic information, and weather conditions with the locations of clients can substantially save time and money. Of course, these are just generic use cases. they're just a small portion of the massive possibility of big data. But it shows that there are endless opportunities to take advantage of big data. Each organization has different needs and requires a different big data approach. Making correct use of these possibilities will add business value and help you stand out from your competition. A brave new big data world. Characterized by its volume, velocity, value, and variety, big data is being produced at a rate of over 2.8 zettabytes or 2.8 trillion gigabytes every year. Every day, 2 million books are posted, 172 million users visit Facebook, spending a combined 4.7 billion minutes on a single social networking site. 51 million minutes of video are uploaded, and 250 million digital photos are shared. We continue to generate 294 billion emails every day, even though many consider email an outdated form of communication. It is expected to explode to over 40 zettabytes per year by 2020. And to stay ahead of the pack, businesses need to start tackling big data today. Investments are being made faster than ever before to improve productivity, create value, stay competitive, spot new business trends, and to generate exciting analytic solutions. Big data is becoming a hallmark of the start of the 21st century, where it is being consumed and utilized by more and more businesses. You can generally split big data into two different types, structured and unstructured. The 294 billion emails being sent per day can be considered structured text, and one of the simplest forms of big data. Financial transactions include movie ticket sales, gasoline sales, restaurant sales, etc., are generally structured and make up a small fraction of the data running around the global networks today. Other forms of structured data include clickstream activity, log data, and network security alerts. Unstructured data is a primary source of growth in big data as well. Music is an ever-increasing variety of data, and we are streaming nearly 19 million hours of music every day across the free music service Pandora. Old television shows and movies are another source of variety in the non-structured realm. There are over 864,000 hours of video uploaded to YouTube every day. MBAonline.com even found that we could pop 98 years of nonstop cat videos into everyone's home for endless hours of boredom, fun, or insanity. Beyond technology in general, big data is going to require changes in most businesses' processes to ensure decisions with proper analytic judgments are made. In order for them to reorganize these requirements, two main ideas will need to be focused on more closely. First, exploration of how businesses can leverage current technological solutions to both segment and then dissect this data is required. And second, the presentation and then prediction of the ways in which businesses have and will use the data to form strategies, to create, maintain, and then enhance the different revenue streams will need to occur. Businesses have been segmenting customer markets for decades, but the era of big data is making segmentation more essential and even more sophisticated. The challenge is not just to gather the information. Rather, it is a race to understand customers more intimately. Segmentation is a foundational element of understanding customers. In its simplest form, customers are grouped based on similar characteristics. As the data improves, like demographic, attitudinal, and behavioral, the approaches to segmentation become more sophisticated. Right now, enterprises are practically drowning in all the data being collected, and if they are not careful, they can spend all their time staring at it and not putting it to good use to make better business decisions. The dissection time can be limitless without yielding actual results, so having a proven and scalable analytics system in place can drastically cut down this segmentation time. Businesses from all sectors recognize that knowing your customer well leads to improved and personalized service for the buyer, and these results in a more loyal customer. In the effort to know their customers better, businesses have traditionally employed advanced analytics systems such as Google Analytics to segment their customers into groups based on demographics, geography, and more. Although this type of segmentation helps, it often fails to not only define important differences between customers, but lacks in offering consistent, innovative features. For example, a basic traveler segmentation from an airline might define a customer as a male, 37 years old, lives and works in Raleigh, and makes frequent business trips to London. A better approach is to classify by the customer's choices, preferences, and tastes based on all of his interactions with the business. But to accurately micro-segment their customers, businesses need to recognize a broader range of customer characteristics, many of which are found beyond the structured information in reservation, departure control, and loyalty systems of an airline. A rich set of additional information about customers can be found in customer interaction, like emails, call transcripts, chat, SMS, social media, and more. Businesses should have the ability to understand the meaning in customer dialogue, and can do so automatically through newer types of analytic systems. Big data has the potential to fundamentally change how marketers relate to their customers. All of them, not just the small percentage that actively participates in a loyalty program. Businesses can leverage the vast amounts of information available in their customer interactions and online marketing paths, such as social media and websites, to finally segment, maintain, and grow relationships with their customers. It is commonly known that big data is both a critical challenge and an opportunity for businesses. Having technologies designed to address the explosive growth of the volume, variety, and velocity of information is critical for their success. Luckily, today's alternative hardware delivery models, cloud architectures, and open-source software bring big data processing within reach. In the end, the big story behind big data may be very small, the capability to create and serve very small microsegments of customers, with a significantly higher accuracy and achieving more with less. Segmenting is the mere tip of the big data iceberg, and the strategies that companies have already formed and will continue to form in order to leverage it is incredible. There are currently 4 main strategies companies use to leverage big data to their advantage: performance management, decision science, social analytics, and data exploration. Performance management is where all things start. By understanding the meaning of big data in company databases using predetermined queries, managers can ask questions such as where the most profitable market segments are. It can be extremely complex and require a lot of resources. However, things are beginning to get easier. Most business intelligence tools today provide a dashboard capability. The user, often the manager or analyst, can choose which queries to run and can filter and rank the report output by certain dimensions, for example, region, as well as drill up or down on the data. Multiple types of reports and graphs make it easy for managers to look at trends. With functional and easy-to-use dashboards, companies are starting to be able to do more with less. But we have yet to see a solution that offers a clean design with simple functionality, that offers even higher insights than what currently exists. Data exploration is the second strategy that is currently in play by businesses. This strategy makes heavy use of statistics to experiment and get answers to questions that managers might not have thought of previously. This approach leverages predictive modeling techniques to predict user behavior based on their previous transactions and preferences. Cluster analysis can be used to segment customers into groups based on similar attributes that may not have been originally planned. Once these groups are discovered, managers can perform targeted actions such as customizing marketing messages, upgrading service, and cross or upselling to each unique group. Another popular use case is to predict what groups of users may drop out. Armed with this information, managers can proactively devise strategies to retain this user segment and lower the churn rate. The well-known retailer Target used big data mining techniques to predict the buying habits of clusters of customers that were going through a major life event. Target was able to identify roughly 25 products, such as unscented lotion and vitamin supplements, that when analyzed together, helped determine a pregnancy prediction score. Target then sent promotions focused on baby-related products to women based on their pregnancy prediction score. This resulted in the sales of Target's baby and mother products sharply increased soon after the launch of their new advertising campaigns. The next strategy companies use is leveraging social media sites such as Facebook, Twitter, Yelp, and Instagram. Social analytics measure the vast amount of non-transactional data that exists today. Much of this data exists on social media platforms, such as conversations and reviews on Facebook, Twitter, and Yelp. Social analytics measure three broad categories: awareness, engagement, and word of mouth or reach. Awareness looks at the exposure or mentions of social content and often involves metrics such as the number of video views and the number of followers or community members. Engagement measures the level of activity and interaction among platform members, such as the frequency of user-generated content. Finally, reach measures the extent to which content is disseminated to other users across social platforms. Reach can be measured with variables such as the number of retweets on Twitter and shared likes on Facebook. Social analyzers need a clear understanding of what they are measuring. For example, a viral video that has been viewed 10 million times is a good indicator of high awareness, but it is not necessarily a good measure of engagement and interaction. Furthermore, social metrics consist of intermediate, non-financial measures. To determine a business impact, analysts often need to collect web traffic and business metrics, in addition to social metrics, and then look for correlations. In the case of viral videos, analysts need to determine if, after viewing the YouTube video, there is traffic to the company website, followed by eventual product purchases. The final strategy companies use has been given the name decision science. It generally involves experiments and analysis of non-transactional data, such as consumer-generated product ideas and product reviews, to improve the decision-making process. Unlike social analyzers who focus on social analytics to measure known objectives, decision scientists explore social big data as a way to conduct field research and to test hypotheses. Crowdsourcing, including idea generation and polling, enables companies to pose questions to the community about its products and brands. Decision scientists, in conjunction with the community feedback, determine the value, validity, feasibility, and fit of these ideas, and eventually report on if or how they plan to put these ideas in action. For example, the My Starbucks Idea program enables consumers to share, vote, and submit ideas regarding Starbucks' products, customer experience, and community involvement. Over 100,000 ideas have been collected to date. Starbucks has an Ideas in Action section to discuss where ideas sit in the review process. Many of the techniques used by decision scientists involve listening tools that perform text and sentiment analysis. By leveraging these tools, companies can measure specific topics of interest around its products, as well as who is saying what about these topics. For example, before a new product is launched, marketers can measure how consumers feel about price, the impact demographics may have on sentiment, and how price sentiment changes over time. Managers can then adjust prices based on these tests. The future of strategies is hard to predict, however, based on how things are growing. Companies are betting that it will be in new types of technology leveraged within analytics systems with a focus in big data. As a founder of a company that focuses in web and data analytics, we are betting the future is in big data processing. By creating an analytics platform accessible online, with an emphasis in beautiful design and a simple interface that is easily used, we are combining powerful analytics with beautiful results. By leveraging all four current strategies and adding our own technology to the mix, the results should push the boundaries between nonfiction and science fiction. Big data is changing the way we live our lives, from running businesses to shopping at the grocery to buying movie tickets. Every piece of collected information is being segmented and used to analyze the way consumers think and behave. In order to take advantage of this opportunity, we need to move away from outdated, less innovative solutions. Instead, we can leverage up-and-coming technology being offered by new startups that change the way we can identify trends in data and insights into consumers' thought processes. By knowing the current strategies that businesses use to take advantage of this massive amount of data, we can use that information to make better informed predictions about where this phenomenon is taking us. This has been Big Data: Mining and Measuring Big Data for Information and Intelligence, written by David Feldspar, narrated by Jason R. Gray. Copyright 2018 by David Feldspar. Production copyright 2018 by David Feldspar. Big Data: Analytics in Revolution for Business and Science, written by David Feldspar, narrated by Jason R. Gray. Chapter 1: Big Data Processing, a Technological Obstacle for Most Businesses. Our modern-day information society has generated one thing above any other: data. A massive quantity of very different data flows through the Internet at a high speed. It is essentially big data, and volume, range, and speed will be the three axes upon which this process revolves. Data everywhere and counting. We all key in data in order to accomplish everyday activities, just like going to pay at the superstore, shopping on the World Wide Web, generating a transfer through our bank's web portal, or engaging in social networking. A giant amount of data is additionally extracted from cellular phones, light and gas meters, and satellites. In reality, pretty much our overall living can be translated into data. This has forced technology agencies to create more sophisticated data processing units and computing devices with enhanced storage volume. Simply to see the remarkable advancement in that discipline, let us take as an example the first 1 gigabyte hard disk that was manufactured in 1980, the IBM 3380. It used the same space as a fridge, weighed 250 kilograms, and valued $40,000 at the moment. Presently, everyone may purchase an SD card the size of a paperclip at the inexpensive price tag. Facebook appropriately indicates the huge assortment of data this kind of system can hold from its innumerable clients: sexuality, their age, marital status, personal preferences, etc. In other words, all highly valuable information, especially for major brand names' marketing departments. Speeding up the big data analysis process. Yet, the quantum leap with respect to data management and use perhaps depends in speed. There are nowadays applications that help administering big data analysis procedures right away that formerly had been required to run in batches or throughout the entire night. This reveals an innovative world of possibilities for companies throughout all establishments, without exception. By way of example, car insurance providers could process client claims in just hours, while this process used to take many weeks. And health insurance organizations can interpret intricate data sets on individual health, and so forecast the health problems they might go through in barely a couple of minutes. In particular, the insurance marketplace has substantially capitalized about the pros presented by big data processing and analysis in regards to finding fraud, since they today can locate falsified claims and prescriptions of ghost treatments. The banking sector is yet another one of the great receivers of this phenomenon. Customer support centers of big financial establishments are employing predictive modeling techniques, which allow them to introduce big data from social networking instantly. That way, they have a detailed view of the individual on the other end of the line. They are aware of their banking profile and personal record, their reaction to certain marketing offers, their views over customer support rendered by the business, their account state, and deals. This was simply unbelievable a few years back. Technology giants just like Google, IBM, Microsoft, Oracle, and SAP were previously hectic in making modern business models and services based on big data processing. The document management software market is not far behind either, and also has managed to work with big data to corporate paper-based records. Exclusively, they have developed text recognition software package that make it doable to grab data from actual physical documents, process it, and input it into big data systems from any kind of medium. In this way, big data not just describes information on the web, but also to all printed documents and digital files which are in the business's closet, and includes imperative information. Big data processing and analysis, an undervalued perspective. So far, so good. Next, where will the obstacle turn up from? Exactly from reality that, right now, just a few businesses are in a position to make the most out of all these details. As stated by Gartner, 85% of agencies involved in the Fortune 500 list aren't well prepared to attain aggressive gain from big data, and the possibility is enormous. The skepticism that rules among some business people must not be underrated either. The question they commonly ask themselves in this respect is, what's the gain on my financial commitment? No one desires to look ahead to 5 years out until the gains through big data processing and analysis might be seen. There is also some unwillingness about the security breaches that would occur when handling so much, and so often so sensitive, data. Due to this cause, governing bodies around the world have presented data safety rules in order to decrease the ultimate impact and avert as much as possible the wrong or dishonest use of information. Of course, it must not be overlooked that gathering, saving, and decoding sensitive information may damage users' privacy. People who look after this data not necessarily ask permission to utilize it for their own gain. And naturally, the very scary hackers are efficient at accessing any enterprise's bank accounts and stealing vulnerable data. Chapter 2. Taming Big Data in order to understand your customer. How a company markets, interacts, and subsequently sells to customers is changing. Driving this are two main concepts. First, the rise of SMAC, or Social, Mobile, Analytics, and Cloud technology. Second, the cost per terabyte of storage has plummeted. Technology is more robust, broadband faster, and security tighter, leading to better technical platforms capable of processing large amounts of data in faster timeframes. Unfortunately, the ability to capture and store data has led to masses of data becoming available for analysis by a company. This has led to the phenomenon called big data. What is SMAC? Social media, mobile technology, analytics, and cloud technology work in synergy to produce a platform from which data can be collected about a customer's interactions with a company. Those businesses that can get the four components of SMAC working together obtain a massive competitive advantage and the ability to analyze and understand their customer. What is big data? It cannot have escaped your notice that researching, interacting, and purchasing on mobile devices, particularly tablets and mobile phones, has greatly increased in recent years. The Guardian reported that in 2014, for the first time, shopping from mobile devices had overtaken that from the desktop. Social media is, of course, everywhere. Combine this structured and unstructured data from a company's website, mobile site, social media, loyalty cards, phone systems, catalog purchases, and brick-and-mortar-based sales, and you have a mass of data. So, what is big data? There are numerous definitions in use, but most use the terms colloquially called the 3 V's: volume, variety, and velocity. When you have a large volume of multitudes of different types of data arriving, moving, and leaving at high velocity, you have big data. When we say big data, we mean big. Until very recently, this data was so large and so unstructured that current technology could not measure it. NASA in 1997 first coined the term, indicating that it was then impossible to be stored on a hard drive. In 2011, McKinsey defined big data as datasets whose size is beyond the ability of typical database software tools to capture, store, manage, and analyze. Imagine, then, how difficult it has been to analyze this volume of data. That is, until omni-channel software arrived. Omni-channel software. Omni means all or universal, and omni-channel means that a user's experience is same across all methods that a customer connects with a company. So whether it is phone line, tablet, website, or store, a customer will have a consistent buying experience. Omnichannel software enables this process by analyzing the big data emanating from these encounters, or, in marketing talk, touchpoints. Until very recently, this software was not sophisticated enough to make a significant difference to either the way marketing was undertaken or the retail landscape. Now, in 2015, major retailers are starting to gain competitive advantages when using omni-channel software. As the market matures, it is expected that these retail users will collaborate, and data becomes even bigger and more useful in defining marketing microtrends. The results would be a better experience for the customer and more profits for the company. Customer behavior demanding changes. When looking for a new TV, a holiday, a meal out, or a new book to read, one of the first things that many potential buyers do is research on the internet, finding out what is available and what others have said about each product. Once the choice of purchase has been narrowed down, a potential customer will then seek the best place to purchase this item. The choice of retail outlet will be decided by looking at a number of criteria, price and convenience being usually the key ones. However, others may look at quality of service, support, what others have said about the retail establishment, delivery times, and costs, as well as the popularity of the shop or website. The customer currently has the power of choice, and retail companies are scrambling to satisfy this choice. The one-to-one marketing advantage. Sometimes expressed as one-to-one marketing, it has been adopted to signify a personalized relationship with a customer. This highly customized interaction between retailer and customer is intended to foster customer loyalty, leading to better customer retention and better returns on marketing investment. While this may be a relatively new marketing term, the concept is centuries old. In our grandparents' day, the local shopkeeper knew almost too much about their customer. They knew what meat and bread they preferred, when they liked to shop, and what their weekly budget could be. In the intervening years, the rise of supermarkets, shopping malls, and department stores has depersonalized the shopping experience for the shopper. Many retailers have even removed service so much that we are expected to self-serve on supermarket checkouts. Families can undertake their weekly or monthly shop without ever talking to a sales staff member, sometimes without even seeing such a person. The shopper fought back when websites started to proliferate. Website giants such as Amazon and eBay became so omnipresent because they realized that offering suggestions, treating the customer with respect, making the buying process simple and trouble-free, and having feedback on their sites kept their customers coming back. It could be said that social media sites also brought back the gossip element that was so prevalent in grandmother's corner shop, but that is for another study. The last few years have seen shoppers become much more comfortable buying over the internet. Amazon's innovations have been copied multiple times, and people now expect recommendations, feedback, and a wide choice of products during their internet shopping experience. Unfortunately, they did not find this level of personalized service when shopping over the telephone, by catalog, or even in a shop. The brick-based retailer began to feel the effects of losing out to web-based retailers. Those retailers that had both brick and click retail outlets struggled to find a method of combining the two approaches, taking the best of both and being able to improve their customers' retail experience with them. Happier customers lead to more repeat business, which means less marketing spends per sale, better customer retention, and an increased turnover. It was time for the retailer to make substantial changes in how they interacted with their customers and potential customers. Unfortunately, they would have to plow through a mass of big data to find individual customer data or data trends to achieve this. Big data would need to be corralled, sorted, and understood. In other words, tamed. Taming big data. The rise of better customer relationship management, or CRM, processes and software, particularly multi-channel and its successor omni-channel systems, has begun to make one-to-one marketing a reality. The technical infrastructure, such as hardware and networks, has become more secure, capable of holding more data, and faster in operation. The taming of big data is still the greatest challenge, but omni-channel software is maturing all the time. This is probably one of the greatest changes to retail marketing ever seen. Chapter 3. Companies collect data. Globalization and technology, developed at a rattling rate, make our lives more comfortable, but we are stranded in a tighter area in our daily lives. This time, private companies trace us more than the government does, ranging from GSM operators to web search engines, credit card data, and survey forms. In the era of marketing, advertising, and consumption, it does not matter so much to get data collected about us. The heart of the matter for the companies is what they could do with that data, how they could increase their sales, and forecast the future. Data mining as a method became very popular in the 1990s. It aims to reach optimum efficiency in planning and organization through collecting data into gigantic databases and determining specific trends, allowing them to forecast the future. Having used artificial intelligence, this method is based on analyzing significant data and trends by computer, which would take many years for an ordinary man to collect that data. In the beginning, such significant data seemed irrelevant, but with computer analytics, it would appear to be relevant by comparing two parameters. For example, according to a survey run in a supermarket chain, families buying nappies tend to buy beer as well, so a promotion campaign is held with the concept of party time for the family with kids. Why is it so important to connect medicine and insurance, public and private sector, automobile graphics with avocado and banana curves? Before answering this question, it would be better to check how such a thing could be possible. The concept of data mining is to purge specific data series by sorting and comparing among gigantic databases. Despite merge and purge and database enrichment methods remaining out of fashion as compared to data mining, data could really be transformed into valuable information. It is not easy to set up such huge databases. Many legal and illegal companies and people appear to collect databases, especially emails currently. Metromail is one of the largest companies collecting mail addresses, currently collecting and selling emails, established in 1948, hiring 3,000 people with a sales turnover of over $281 million. It hunts data research from different resources, ranging from state records to surveys, which also includes income, home ownership, marital status, age groups, and even the team supported. So Metromail is the number one company requiring specific name address info. On the other hand, it has a gigantic database continuously developing with data almost about every house in the United States. In addition to such legal companies, there are also pirate ones producing data for pirate CDs. Don't simply use a customer list. True wealth is in the database. The term "the money is in the list" has been used over and over again in many different situations. I cannot argue with the term either, because money truly is in the list. However, I would like to add to the term and state that the big money is in the database. If you want to reach those levels of income that millions only dream of, then it is an absolute must that you utilize database marketing in your business marketing efforts. So what is database marketing? Database marketing is when you gather together data about your prospects and customers and use this data to market your products and services more efficiently and effectively. Do you realize that if you take a look at all the big companies, I'm talking about companies that are publicly traded and making an insane amount of money every year, the large majority of them use database marketing. That's called a clue. Don't believe me? Just take a trip to your local supermarket. Chances are that your local supermarket is part of a national chain. There are very few local supermarkets left due to global competition. When you reach the supermarket, grab some items and head over to the checkout area. The cashier will likely ask you if you have some kind of Advantage card. If you did not have the Advantage card, you would not be able to receive the same discounts and other special opportunities that you would receive if you had it. For the supermarket, the Advantage card gives the supermarket the ability to store your identifying information into a database so that they can use it to market better to you. Not only do they have the basic information, such as your name, your address, and your telephone number, they also have your shopping habits. Because remember, before you complete your purchase, you have to swipe that Advantage card. This is a classic example of database marketing at work. You don't have to be a multi-million-dollar corporation or retail operation in order to efficiently utilize database marketing. The key is to develop a system to gather the information and then develop a system to store and use the information. How do you gather the information? One strategy that you can use is the same strategy that supermarkets use. You can create some kind of preferred buyers club where any member of the club receives discounts or special perks that other prospects and/or customers do not receive. The only requirement is to sign up for the club by providing some simple information, such as your name, address, and telephone number. Employing this one strategy would put you light years ahead of much of your competition, especially if you are running an internet business. Do you realize how much of your competition isn't gathering any information about your customers besides a name and an email address? If you take it one step further and are able to get an address and a telephone number, that opens up the door for you to use 2 additional means of getting your offers in the face of your prospect. So, decide today to develop a plan to employ database marketing into your business model. Implementing just this one step can allow you to easily triple the annual revenue your business receives. Word of mouth, videos, and brands. A video is one of the most effective online marketing tools because it not only sends a message, but allows you to relate to the audience on a more personal level. While it is possible to create a video that is good, it doesn't mean that the audience is going to respond to it, or at least not in the way you intended. In fact, very few brands initially succeed with their first video. It takes time and tuning to get things right. Certain characteristics define a good video, but what many neglect, at least at first, is that these characteristics are defined by your brand, and are what will ultimately define your brand to the video audience. What questions should you ask of a brand which wants to incorporate more video into their marketing strategy? That may sound as simple as budget, objective, and the target audience, but perhaps the more important question anyone should ask is, why? Why should you create a video? Will it appeal to the audience? Will it improve visibility? This is your underlying objective. What's the goal, and what does success look like in using video for your brand? On a more in-depth level, it is crucial that brands ask themselves, what are you willing to invest to achieve your objective? Creating a budget is a great idea, but only if it is designed to help the video campaign achieve its goal. While targeting the audience is imperative, it is just as important to understand how the audience currently consumes video. Is it through social networks? Is it through vlogs? Are they surfing for relevant keywords? There's more to targeting than developing an attractive video for the audience. It's about knowing where they are and where they will be. The most practical question you can ask someone who wants to expand their video campaign is the issue of quality versus quantity. Can the brand promote new material? Or is it the same old material, repeating yesterday's news? Brands need to be ready to widen their message and deliver new content, not just more of the old. Video online marketing Q&As. Question number 1. What analytic tools are best used to fine-tune your video strategy? Answer. Since video campaigns are an ongoing and constant learning process, it's important to be able to fine-tune your approach. Initially, the most practical and simplest of analytics is judging success by views. But that may not be enough to grasp a clear understanding of whether your video itself is good enough, or if your marketing method is good enough. For more in-depth analytics, you'll need to be able to view time spent, completion rates, shares, comments, and if viewers are continuing investigation of your brand by traveling to your webpage. In most cases, you can use Google Analytics to get an idea of how your video engages the online world. Question number 2. Which video campaigns are successful, and what are their practices? Answer. Is there a difference between video and online commercials? Some might dispute it, but the fact is, if you're marketing, you are basically creating a commercial. But the delivery is what makes it attractive to the audience. Take, for instance, the Blend Tech and Will It Blend video series. Creating a series appeals to the mind. The audience wants to see what will happen next, and thus you incorporate the art of suspense. Others, like Red Bull, blend humor with fun and do a great job of promoting a relatable image through videos. What about Jimmy Fallon's backstage Choose Your Own Adventure tour? Here's a brand that isn't selling product, but selling the uniqueness of the brand itself by introducing the audience to what makes the brand tick. Video is about continuity. It is also about humanizing the brand and showing the audience what your brand represents. Question number 3. What are some how-to resources for upcoming video campaigns for emerging brands? Answer. First of all, always ask, why would anyone want to watch this video? What's your story? Can you evoke emotion in your audience? Is there a relatable element? Is the material original? Most of all, how does the video help the audience? Is it informative, sharing, uplifting? Always keep in mind that you don't need to shock and provoke to create a viral video. For those who are just beginning a video campaign, start simple and work in different styles as you learn. Incorporate more than just your words. It's about your actions and attitudes as well. Videos have a special energy that only you can deliver, and that will define your brand. Additionally, don't be shy with multimedia tools, graphs, charts, and other visual aids. Don't make your videos too long either, and remember that the magic is in the editing. Video is an excellent way to promote your brand in the online world. With the right approach and by asking yourself the right questions, it is possible to create a video that stimulates word-of-mouth marketing and improves your brand's visibility in the online world. Benefits of using the affordable video marketing services. Before venturing into the advantages, let us first define video marketing. Video marketing is a marketing strategy that makes use of short, informative, and catchy videos for the purpose of promoting services and products. This strategy is used by companies to induce awareness about the promoted services or products to the prospective customers and entice them into purchasing. With more people turning to the internet for all sorts of information, online video marketing is gaining popularity. The online video marketing ensures that they can supplement the need of the web user in terms of useful, new, and sensational information. The online video marketing developers offer a number of affordable marketing services that include video email marketing campaigns, multimedia communications, video landing pages, video streaming services, and interactive video brochures with viewer tracking. Video encoding, video SEO and HTML coding, all kinds of video conversion services, video encoding services, video SEO techniques, web analytics, and any sort of daily maintenance need or specialty website coding are provided by video marketing developers. The HTML programmers ensure smooth running of your web communications and marketing projects and enable you to track detailed data of viewer engagement. Landing pages and interactive video brochures. Besides developing, designing, and distributing, the video marketing developers track persuasive video landing pages, video marketing brochures, and video microsites for pay-per-click advertising, direct marketing and sales, business communications, and social media networking. Benefits of online marketing using video. There are several advantages of using online video marketing. This form of marketing uses images and videos, and hence delivers information in an interesting manner and at a higher rate, in comparison to text and static images. Nowadays, people prefer watching short and crisp videos instead of reading long content. Online video marketing ensures less wastage of the prospective customer's precious time as they get to the point at a faster rate. The message is delivered not only in a short span of time, but also in an appealing manner. In fact, it is catchier than other advertising forms. The techniques used by online video marketing, such as a handsome face and an appealing voice, can make the prospective customer relate more to the promoted product and to the company. The web videos are a boon to the small and medium-sized businesses, or SMBs, as they do not require a huge budget to get their products or services promoted. They can not only create and upload their videos, but can also take user-generated content, or UGC, advantage in the promotions of their video. These videos can easily be uploaded in popular video sharing websites like YouTube, BlinkX, Google Video, Vimeo, and Flickr. The advantage of uploading the promotional videos in these sites is that they can easily represent your company to innumerable potential customers and even enable you to improve the displayed content. The sites will not only host the files, but also will transcode and offer to playback the clips in a universal way. Since iframe embed code is supported by sites like YouTube, you do not need to bother with integrating a JavaScript player into your site, as YouTube itself will determine the kind of player required to play your video. Online videos are easier and faster to comprehend, thereby enabling you to provide your business's essence to the potential customers and interact with them. Therefore, such clips are used for promoting products on your product pages and branding on your corporate page. A demo video also helps in selling complex products, thereby boosting sales. Thus, with the online video marketing services, you can easily reach customers on iPads, smartphones, iPhones, and computers anytime and anywhere. You can easily make use of online advertising as you can create excellent marketing videos by yourself. With good marketing videos and user-generated content, you are guaranteed to quickly brand your business and reach the target market. How to improve business data storage. Most businesses, whether large or small, rely heavily on their ability to manage data effectively. Without it, they simply cannot provide an effective service. In today's world, we are quickly becoming more and more data reliant, and businesses need to keep pace with this. So, how can businesses improve their data sharing and storage to meet the needs of modern business? The answer seems to be cloud computing. Standard IT infrastructure in most businesses involves the use of a server connected to multiple clients, with applications and software bought and licensed for all the users in the network. This works well, but it has a few major drawbacks. Firstly, there is often costly hardware and software to be maintained, taking up staff time and money. It can also be inflexible as to access files saved on the network. Users need to be able to access it directly. It can also overload if too many users try to access the same application at once. Many of these problems can be overcome by using cloud services instead. Cloud services aren't perfect, but they do help to solve many of the issues that using more traditional methods of data storage can present. Cloud services are inherently flexible, giving users the freedom to access data on the move, from laptops and mobile devices, or from their homes' PCs easily. They allow easy sharing of data, which helps staff cooperate and can increase productivity. To make the most of cloud services and their ability to improve data storage, businesses should tread carefully initially. There are some ongoing concerns about many cloud services. They may be especially vulnerable to attack, and data protection laws have not yet kept up with the new technology. However, the potential is huge, and so it's certainly worth dipping a toe in. A wide variety of different types of cloud applications are available from various suppliers. So it really is just a case of seeing what is available and trying things out. Eventually, businesses could move to an entirely cloud-based network, but they don't need to do so immediately. Some businesses could take advantage of cloud software for particular functions. For example, a cloud-based customer relationship management system helps sales staff communicate faster and more efficiently. A cloud-based accounting system helps businesses ensure that all accounts are up to date and that they are always working from the same correct information. Across the board, cloud data storage can help businesses become more efficient and responsive. The importance of big data and how new Microsoft products address the problem. Whether we like it or not, we live in a globalized world where people are communicating with one another on all kinds of platforms, from mobile to social networks. More important than communication is, for companies, producers and manufacturers all over the world, the fact that these people are consumers. Working with the big data generated by the behavior of these consumers in the online environment is a great challenge that large companies such as Microsoft intend to tackle in order to provide their clients with better software products. Freedom of data processing. One of the most important aspects of big data is the ability of processing this data in any way businesses see fit. While the use of tools such as Excel, SQL, and SharePoint provide Microsoft clients with great tools in processing data, more is needed. For this reason, Microsoft has run various tests on the ability to process data, using a new type of system called Isotope, which is a port of Hadoop to Windows Server. Predicting marketing behaviors. The role of such a system is to provide businesses with the needed tools for predicting the online and offline consumer behavior of millions of people. If this sounds massive, it should, because this is what big data platforms operate with. The new system developed by Microsoft intends to make order in chaos and offers much better prediction models, as well as reduced time cycles for obtaining palpable results. Big data is big math. The manner used by Microsoft for clearing the skies in how big data can be used efficiently by businesses was born from a mathematical approach. Collecting big data is one thing, followed by the next logical step, processing data. For this, a large capacity of calculating mathematical prediction models is needed, which is why the new tools that are developed by Microsoft focus on offering clients access to tools that use an immense calculating power. To the cloud. Cloud computing has become a buzz term during recent years, due to the increased need of companies to process large chunks of data without investing millions of dollars in hardware. Microsoft is up for the challenge, and the test operated on Windows Azure has showed that storage capacities for big data, as well as the speed of processing data, are greatly increased. A new challenge for IT departments. In order for new technologies to work, IT departments need to update their skills and their approach as well. One of the greatest challenges is the ability to focus on creating an enterprise network capable of concentrating the collecting and processing data power from devices that are not located in the same place. Especially for companies that conduct their business from places scattered all over the world, this is a very important aspect. The final goal to transform big data into information that can be used for further actions. By understanding consumer behaviors in large numbers, companies can create palpable marketing strategies for the future. Big data, challenges and opportunities. Every challenge represents a new set of opportunities. Big challenges bring forth big opportunities, and big data is a big challenge. It challenges the way we have been viewing, storing, analyzing, and interpreting our data. The term big data is kind of a misnomer because it implies that the only issue with today's data is its sheer size. There's a lot more to big data than just its size. Big data applies to the set of data that can't be processed or gained insight into using the traditional tools and techniques. The amount of data in our world has been exploding. We capture trillions of bytes of information about customers, suppliers, and operations, and millions of network sensors are being embedded in the physical world, in devices such as mobile phones and automobiles, sensing, creating, and communicating data. Individuals with smartphones and on social network sites continue to fuel exponential growth. Big data, large pools of data that can be captured, communicated, aggregated, stored, and analyzed, is now part of every sector and function of the global economy. Let's look at some of the facts how the data is proliferating. There are 5 billion phones in the world right now that are generating data by seconds. Just Facebook alone is generating 30 billion pieces of content every month. The Library of Congress has around 235 terabytes of data. Twitter alone generates about 7 terabytes of data every month. The Large Hadron Collider experiments represent about 150 million sensors delivering data 40 million times per second. Walmart handles more than 1 million customer transactions every hour. These are just the tip of the iceberg, and it demonstrates how data is becoming massive by seconds. Digital data is everywhere, in every sector, in every company, and every economy. Today, we store everything: environmental data, financial data, medical data, and surveillance data, and the list goes on and on. According to an MGI estimate, in 2010, corporations stored more than 7 exabytes of data on their hard drives, and individual consumers stored more than 6 exabytes of data. Google's executive chairman Eric Schmidt brings it to a point. Quote, "From the dawn of civilization until 2003, humankind generated 5 exabytes of data. Now we produce 5 exabytes of data every 2 days, and the pace is accelerating." The possibilities and opportunities presented by the proliferation of big data are constantly evolving, driven by innovation in technologies, platforms, and analytical capabilities. Big data can be defined by its 3 main characteristics: volume, variety, and velocity of data. Till now, we have just discussed about the size or the volume of data. With the proliferation of sensors, smart devices, social collaboration tools, and enterprises, today we are faced with not only traditional relational data, but also data in a raw form, semi-structured or unstructured form. The sheer variety of data that are getting captured today presents a unique set of problems for our traditional tools and techniques in storing and analyzing them. As the volume and variety of data that gets captured or stored today has changed, so has the sheer velocity at which this data is being generated. With the emergence of RFID sensors everywhere and other information streams, the data is getting generated at such a pace that has made impossible for our traditional tools to handle. For many applications, the speed of data creation is even more important than the volume. Real-time or nearly real-time information makes it possible for a company to be much more agile than its competitors. Big data, human resources, and the future of hiring. Computers have already redefined academia, entertainment, and news reporting. There's little wonder, then, that they should do the same to hiring. It used to be that companies would have rooms of file cabinets devoted to storing information on job applicants. If a company needed to hire someone, its human resources workers would comb through those file cabinets, carefully selecting candidates who best fit the company's needs. Such a process was not only time-consuming, but also inaccurate. Human resource workers could easily miss relevant information in the applications, leading to less than ideal hiring practices. Big data. The rise of utilizing datasets for HR, however, has changed all of that. Big data refers to large datasets stored on computers, as well as any software or human resource practices that help one sort through such data. Companies assemble this data from a variety of sources, including social media websites like Facebook and LinkedIn, resumes, job applications, business cards, and tests and games designed to assess applicants' skills. The data is then entered into various software programs, which differentiate employees based on their ability and experience. One common program for this purpose is the Applicant Tracking System, or ATS. Companies often put ATS applications on their websites, using them to raise awareness about job openings. Prospective employees can submit their resumes to the ATS, which will screen the resumes, devise potential interview questions, and track each candidate throughout her application process. An ATS is invaluable when filling job openings. Human obsolescence. Many mistakenly believe that the rise of big data will reduce the need for humans to work in human resources. If a computer can sort through job applications and select ideal employees on its own, why bother hiring anyone to assess potential employees? Big data, however, does not merely need to be scanned and sorted. It also needs to be analyzed and interpreted, jobs that only humans can do. Computers can determine how many applicants have MBAs, or how many have GPAs above 3.9, but they can't tell whether a prospective employee is creative, has workable visions for the company, or will interact productively with her coworkers. It is for this reason that big data will only increase the number of human resource workers that companies will actually hire. One study estimates that an additional 1.5 million data-savvy managers will be hired as big data becomes thoroughly integrated into the American economy. Small data gets big data results for small companies. However, the process of changing data into information plays an incredibly important role in small business success. So, let's speak to the power of data specific and unique to you, information you can use immediately to accomplish your mission. This is your proprietary soda pop formula, which will enable you to gain an unfair competitive advantage. This is small data for small business for big data results. The objective for using small data is to alter or reinforce your customer's behavior with the expected result of increasing sales and profit. Something promised by every management team. Small data can answer it. If improving field sales capabilities or efficiencies will make a major contribution to organic revenue growth, if your marketing project can successfully increase your customer base, will the expense lines be driven lower by taking on a new service or product position? Will your downstream channels be convinced and commit to fully support your new value? Can a new strength be leveraged with an upstream supplier network? Or, how likely is it that your company will become more profitable? The answer to these questions becomes personal. It's your credibility with the board, the bank, personal peers, and of course, the sales team. Within all the smoke hides two questions that should be asked at the beginning of the decision process. Is the decision-making process fully connected and associated to the company's objectives? Will the projects and programs chosen produce recognizable value for the customer, and will they pay for it? In a small company, small data is ideal for resolving these questions and provide solutions that reduce risk and maximize opportunity. If you can write a really well-thought-out, needs-based, and action-oriented survey with not more than 25 questions and receive back 200 to 300 representative samples, you have the data to drive superior decisions. When this data is changed into information, it will have a quantifiable, positive impact on your objectives. To construct a great survey, ask what information is required that will have a high-impact, positive effect on customer behavior. Ask yourself, will we gain a competitive advantage? Can the resulting projects be implemented in a timely, practical, and cost-effective way? Truly information-based organizations benefit from learnable risk. These organizations own and maintain more knowns and fewer unknowns than their competition. As a result, they have the ability to act quickly and accurately on critical needs. The effect is real growth and real profit. So what do you do first? Know that today's business intelligence, or BI, methodologies are not simply the practice of counting a number of bad or good tick marks gathered for an offer, product, or service, followed by viewing them in a high to low format and making a decision driven by the height or perceived value of a bar. This type of analysis does not have the capability to account for an important level, performance impact, or the cost-value relationship between a decision option and an objective, which are all keys to success. Great BI creates a visual of what has happened and what can happen. A diagram made up of growth and profit visually enables a management team to naturally assess and act upon quickly. Visuals are important because they are more straightforward in revealing high-impact information and uncovering central questions affecting current and future objectives. BI is the facilitator of great decisions made with confidence and team-building support. One of the unique benefits of BI methods have the capability to not only identify and forecast positive impact conditions, but negative impact as well. Generally, a user will find one or two or possibly three projects that truly have a potential to impact buying behavior. Business intelligence clears out meaningless noise and reduces resource waste on low-impact projects which do not affect customer behavior. Now, you can overlay high to low or strong to weak charts to prioritize the remaining projects, possibly based on ROI, time to market, internal capability and capacity, contracts that would be more efficiently won, cross-functional support and buy-in, or ease and cost of deployment. The bottom line: business intelligence has become critical to success in today's inflationary, resource-constrained, and hyper-competitive environment, especially for the small to medium business. BI is no longer on the wish list. It is on the essential list to survive. Your mission is to first find that right opportunity and then make a superior decision. You absorb the consequences, spend your time and money on something that includes a fact-based focus, attain cross-functional effect, and produce real growth, real customer satisfaction, and real ROI. Role of big data in evaluating companies' overall performance. The world has become excited about the concept, methodology, and operational significance of big data. Today, more and more companies have started utilizing the power and potential of big data in order to increase their operating margins and eliminate errors. Companies are also looking for advanced data analytics for the overall efficiency as well as quality improvements at the same time. With the emergence of big data, companies have started changing the way they perform their activities. In fact, this concept itself transforms the culture of businesses while magnetizing IT leaders to realize its original worth, potential, and value. Powerful, smart, and valuable insights from big data. Needless to say, powerful, smart, and valuable insights from big data simply enable all the functional modules as well as operational departments to work smartly while taking much better decisions. The accurate insights offer comprehensive study and analysis of customer engagement, optimizing operations, and focus on the organizational weaknesses. In fact, it is good to prevent present and potential threats and frauds in both short and long terms. Effectively capitalizing on the new sources of revenue. Leading businesses and forward-looking organizations can effectively capitalize on new sources of revenue while eliminating their bottleneck. However, all this needs new approach to business architecture, advanced tools, and much refined operational and managerial practices. In addition to that, the real issue is not just to acquire tons of data or customer data. It is actually what you do with the available data. It is important for organizations to harness the data, evaluate, study, and analyze it to find the exact business-related answers. Companies need to reduce their overall cost while optimizing their offerings so that they can play longer in the market. The apparent benefit of utilizing big data. It helps to make smarter business decisions. Indeed, with the help of big data, it has become possible for the business leaders and data scientists to identify the exact root causes of failures and to focus on the defects in the real time. It not only helps to save a huge amount of money, but also encourages companies to swing and elevate to the higher level of excellence. Create value for their organizations. Today, there is a high scope for the professionals to become data scientists and analyze the data to create value for their organizations. For this, they need to clear certain certifications, such as Big Data and Hadoop certification, in order to take the organization to the next level. The challenges for data security faced by firms and their customers working and trading online. Data security is a huge responsibility for firms which indulge in online trading. There are various ways in which security can be breached, enabling hackers to access sensitive data. A study in America found that when a company's security is breached online, its market value drops 2.1% within 2 days of the announcement of the breach, an average loss of $1.65 billion. Credit card fraud has increased 29% in the past year, according to a report by the Association of Payment Clearing Services, or APACE. The fraud is on phone, mail, and internet. Clearly, there are several challenges faced by firms in order to keep data secure and to keep the trust of their customers. Online security is defined as the protection of assets on the internet from unauthorized access, use, alteration, or destruction. There are 2 types of security: physical and logical. Physical security includes guards, fireproof doors, security fences, etc. Data security on the internet obviously deals with logical security. The internet was never designed to exchange value, or money. This makes it more of a challenge. Also, the fact that the internet is always on, thanks to broadband and wireless internet. This means firms face much more complex security issues. One of the largest and increasingly popular methods of the fraudsters obtaining information is through a method known as phishing. In September 2005, 106 brands were reported to have been phished. Notable rises in the use of the larger banks' names as well as many credit unions. Financial services made up 81.2% of reported incidents. Internet service providers made up 11.8%, retail 3.5%, and the final 3.5% was reported as miscellaneous. Phishing involves a customer being sent a spoof email from the institution with which they have dealings with. The email will usually explain that there is an issue with their account and asks the customer to click on a link which will take them to a spoof site. For example, they may send you an email from NatWest saying that there has been suspicious activity on your account, and so, unknowingly, you would click and sign in. This then sends an email to the fraudster with all of your details. This type of security breach is fairly hard to defend against. The only way in which firms can beat this system is through educating customers on how to recognize a secure website. There are ways of tracking where those emails came from, and by doing this, the source of the email can be found and prosecuted. The most common firms which are targeted are Visa, eBay, and PayPal. Another threat faced by firms is the threat from script kiddies. Script kiddies are inexperienced hackers who use common hacking tools to find known holes in a web server or network security and exploit them. By hacking into the system, they are then able to maliciously alter text or graphics and access data which they shouldn't have access to. Script kiddies can access credit card information and any other sensitive information, depending obviously on how secure the website or network is. Script kiddies use basic hacking to gain unauthorized access to data. However, there are several other forms of hacking. One of these is packet sniffing. A packet is a fragment of data. Data transmissions are broken up into packets. Each packet contains a portion of the data sent, as well as header information, which includes the destination address. A packet sniffer was originally designed for a system administrator to monitor the network and seek out any problematic packets and prevent any bottlenecks in the network, and to ensure fluent transmission of data. However, a packet sniffer can also be used maliciously. The sniffer reads the information packets, which contain passwords and usernames, are often in clear text. Normally, the packet sniffer will capture only these packets meant for that machine. However, the packet sniffer can be set up to intercept all packages moving around the network, regardless of their destination. Clearly, packet sniffers are a risk to customers buying from firms online, as their passwords can be viewed and their accounts accessed. In order for a hacker to access the secure data, they must first use a technique called IP spoofing. By IP spoofing, the hacker sends messages to the intended computer. The receiving computer thinks it's coming from a safe source. This is because the hacker's computer has assumed the IP of a trusted computer. Using IP spoofing, the hacker can gain access to packets designed for a different computer. The hacker can disrupt the connection between the customer and, for example, its bank, and then steps in and communicates with the bank. The bank system believes it's communicating with the customer, as the attacking computer has taken the customer's computer's IP. All of these systems of breaching a firm's security are used to obtain sensitive data. Firms can lose a lot of business and income through having their website sabotaged. A zombie attack, also known as a DOS or denial of service attack, is a way in which an attack can be launched which temporarily paralyzes a website. The attacker sends a zombie through an open port. The attacker then instructs that zombie computer to send to the target system a huge amounts of packets of useless information, usually around 500 packets per second. The huge number of packets overloads the system as it tries to take in all of the information and find some information that makes sense. During this time, the system is unable to operate and therefore crashes. This will obviously cause massive problems for firms trading online because they are unable to make any sales until the problem has been sorted out. There are around 4,000 DOS attacks per week, aimed at small users, small foreign internet service providers, although larger firms such as AOL and Amazon have been hit. Although these DOS attacks can cause huge problems for firms, they are not actually illegal. In a case currently ongoing in the UK, a teenage boy is being charged with the Computer Misuse Act because he sent his ex-boss 5 million emails, and thus forcing the email server offline. The process of sending spam emails to consumers' email addresses is illegal. The Computer Misuse Act does not protect businesses. Clearly, in this case, the firm which was targeted would have lost contact with its clients through emails. People would not have been able to contact the firm through email, and clients may have been put off from doing business with them because of the problem. Other way hackers can affect a network or computer is by using a Trojan horse. Trojan horses are sent to people and they are tricked into opening them as they are disguised as harmless programs. Trojan horses, like worms and viruses, have varying severity. Some can just have annoying effects, such as changing desktop features, and other effects can be more serious, such as deleting files and damage hardware and software. Trojans are also capable of creating a backdoor on your system that gives malicious users access to your system, possibly allowing confidential or personal information to be compromised. This can obviously jeopardize customers' details on their computers, or they could gain access to a network with customers' data on it. Clearly, there are several challenges faced by firms when attempting to ensure internet security. The most simple to do is to ensure that the firm's customers who use their online services are educated in internet security. For example, almost all banks have warnings on their websites. They have messages saying, "Remember, NatWest will never ask you for your PIN or password in an email." The website also offers other information to customers with regards to staying safe online. It warns about relying on the padlock icon on the bottom of the window when accessing a website to judge whether it is safe or not. This icon itself is not a proof of security. Customers must also look at the address bar at the top of the window. http:// is not a secure site, whereas https:// is. An HTTP site uses a plain text system socket. This is the easiest form of text to transfer, as it is used by almost all applications on a computer. However, it is also easily read by hackers. Therefore, the HTTPS system was developed. The data is encrypted by either the Secure Socket Layer (SSL) protocol or Transport Layer Security (TLS) protocol. This ensures that the customer has some protection from people trying to gain access to sensitive data. This encryption is also known as cryptography. The most basic form of encryption is single key cryptography. This method of encryption uses one key to encrypt and decrypt a message. For example, if user A is sending a message to user B, then user A must send user B his or her key. User B will then encrypt the message and send it to user A, who will decrypt the message. This method clearly has several problems, one of which being that the user must trust the person they are sending their key to. They could also easily send the key to rivals. A more advanced system for encrypting is the Public Key Infrastructure, or PKI. This system uses two keys, one which is freely available, or the public key, and so customers use it to send their data and encrypt it. And this data can only be decrypted with the other key, which is the private key. The firm receiving the data has the key, and obviously without it, the data sent cannot be decrypted, so preventing anyone gaining authorized access to it. All of these methods of security prevent hackers from packet sniffing and gaining access to secure data. However, in order to provide a more secure system, the user must also protect themselves with a firewall. Firewalls are widely available and one of the most well-known methods of protection. A firewall is used to scan all messages coming into and going out of a network or computer, and it checks to ensure that they meet the security requirements as chosen by the computer. The firewall has several methods of protecting the customer, one of which being packet filtering. The firewall looks at each packet entering or leaving the network, and it will either allow it or deny it access, depending on the user's settings. Packet filtering does have its drawbacks, and for example, IP spoofing can sometimes beat the firewall, and it can also be fairly complex to set up. Another technique that firewalls use is the application gateways. Application gateways apply security mechanisms to specific applications, such as FTP and Telnet servers. This is very effective, but can impose performance degradation. The basics of data security. Whether on a home computer or a business server, data security is an issue of vital importance in today's digital world. Simply put, data security involves protecting the various forms of data that are stored on the hard drives found on laptops, desktops, and on servers around the world. With the Internet allowing unprecedented access to the computers of others, data security has become more important than ever before. Data encryption. There are a few basic methods of keeping your data secure. The most basic and common is the use of encryption technology. In layman's terms, encryption is like sending a letter in code. The data is scrambled into a form that is unreadable by anyone who does not have access to the key in order to decode it. There are various types of encryption technology. Disk encryption, a system that encrypts all of the data on a hard drive, can be performed either via disk encryption software or disk encryption hardware, both of which perform the task of making the data on your computer unreadable to those without the proper access key to decode it. Disk encryption is a good, common form of protecting your data, but it still has potential flaws. Although the data is unreadable to others, it could still be accessed and damaged, rendering it useless to you. Protecting your data, whether encrypted or not, from being accessed in the first place is an important part of data security for both home users and businesses alike. The most basic way to make your data inaccessible to others is by strong user authentication procedures. User authentication. User authentication is a very simple concept. Every time you boot up your computer and enter a password, you are providing user authentication. The password tells the computer that you are an authorized user and should be allowed access to the files within. User authentication procedures are only as strong as the passwords and protocols used with them. The most common and preventable error in data security is the use of a weak password. Your password should never use commonly accessible information that could be used to access your computer files. Don't use birth dates, family members, or pets' names, or other similar information. While it might make your password easy to remember, it will also make it easy for someone else to figure out. Instead, choose a password that is not a real word, uses a combination of numbers and letters, and also a combination of uppercase and lowercase letters. Beyond the basics. Beyond the basics, there are a wide variety of advanced data security solutions that are hardware and software-based and can protect your data from within the computer. Think of data security as a multi-step process. The first line of defense is to keep people out of your data in the first place. This means securing your data, not just from people who could log in from your workstation, but also from people who might access your data through the internet as well. The second line of defense is having a good encryption program that will prevent anyone who does access your data from using it in a malicious manner, leaving them only the option of destroying the data or corrupting it. If this happens, you need to fall back on the third and final line of defense: backups. Data backups. Backing up your data is a vital part of protecting it. If all of your other security measures fail and your data is corrupted and rendered unreadable or unusable, all will not be lost as long as you have a backup. Set up a good backup system and use it regularly to ensure that the information you have on your backup file is as recent as possible, allowing you to restore corrupted files to where they were prior to the invasion of your computer. If you fail to have a recent backup of your files, your best bet is to contact a local data recovery firm to have the files recovered and, hopefully, repaired. Data security is something that every computer user needs to be concerned with. Business computers contain all kinds of important and sensitive business information, while home computers can contain personal information that can be used in a malicious way, including banking information and other similar data. No matter what you use your computer for, keeping your data secure is a serious matter. Put a 3-level data security system in place to prevent access, encrypt data, and provide a backup source in order to be sure that you won't lose your important files. Tips on how to keep your data safe and always available from data security attacks. Data security is a growing concern for businesses and private internet users alike. Since 2005, almost 350 million internet users' data have been compromised. The businesses are also operating under the constant threat of their database being hacked and important business data being lost. Data security has therefore become a concern for all. This chapter is dedicated to data security tips for both business and individual users. Guard your information. You need to be stricter about where you disclose your data. Be apprehensive about releasing your data to strangers. Hackers can access all your data from the social security sites. The businesses should be careful about who they give access to for sensitive data. Password protection. Password protection is the first step to data security, though it holds very little protection against seasoned hackers. An ideal password should be a mix of numbers and letters and may contain more than 8 characters. Sensitive data encryption. Steps should be taken to encrypt sensitive information. There is software that can help in encrypting Word documents containing important information. Avoid suspicious websites. If you are not confident about the authenticity of a website, you may be better off avoiding disclosing financial and personal information to it. Look for the padlock sign in the browser and the HTTPS prefix in the website address. Antivirus software. There are plenty of antivirus software available, both paid and free, for the consumers to choose from. Businesses concerned with data security, however, may invest in good antivirus software to protect confidential business information from malware and viruses. New York-based businesses can also engage professional New York City data recovery firms to ensure better protection of their data. Change to wireless. Many businesses are converting to wireless mode for better data security. The connection should only come from a trusted provider. For better data security, you may consider a Wi-Fi service that has both denial of service and stateful packet inspection firewall protection. Data backup. Backup of data should be taken at least daily to prevent data lost from security breach. New York City and Staten Island businesses now have the opportunity to outsource data backup services to professionals. A New York City data recovery company may also be able to retrieve lost data in the event of a security breach and help minimize loss from data loss. Shred information. The early practice of shredding papers containing confidential information to prevent data leakage was really helpful in ensuring data security. The same can be practiced even today. Windows OS users can use CCleaner to erase information from hard drives. Email filter. An email filter can be introduced to filter emails from suspicious elements. Email from unknown and untrustworthy sources may be avoided, as these may contain Trojan software, which will steal the information from your system. Further, if the system is being used by multiple users, multiple accounts should be made on it, restricting users from accessing administrator accounts. Businesses now have realized the importance of data security. Many businesses have also found it beneficial to engage professional IT solution providers to data protection. There are now data recovery companies which offer professional and customized data security services to businesses. The importance of data security. Truly securing the data of your company and your customers is vital to business success. In today's world of identity theft and data thieves, many small companies are, unfortunately, ill-prepared to handle the additional weight of the responsibility they have for this data. Most small businesses understand the importance of providing secure storage for their customers' data. After all, they've seen the results of improper storage of data. When a company has to send out a letter to its customers informing them that their private information has been compromised, customers begin to think twice about doing business with that company. How do most businesses compare? Although most small businesses know how important it is to securely store data, they don't always have a good data storage plan in place. Some businesses do not understand the need for formal planning about data security. Others feel that they can protect their data with simple common sense. Unfortunately, relying on common sense and no formal plan is a bad recipe for data storage. Storing sensitive data in a responsible, secure way requires detailed formal planning and trained professionals. What kind of data needs to be secure? Securing data means understanding which pieces of information need to be protected and enacting proper procedures and safeguards to keep this information safe. What type of information is high priority when it comes to data security? Customer information. Securing the data of customers should be the number one priority for any business. Without customers, the business would fail. And without data security, the customers will take their business to a competing company. In today's worldwide economy, customers have many choices. Securing customer data keeps customers happy. Product information. In many industries, protecting information about new and existing products is also a priority. Competing companies may be looking for a leg up and could find that help by using stolen data. Innovation is key to surviving in most businesses, and in order to protect its intellectual property, a company needs to pay attention to data security. Employee information. Most companies have detailed personal information about employees, such as social security numbers, addresses, telephone numbers, and employment records. It's vital to the success of a business to protect the interests of its employees. Employees are what makes a company successful. Company information. It is important for many companies to protect financial information and other data about the business. If accessible to unauthorized users, this information could harm the business's reputation or provide impetus for legal action against the company. Protecting company information is essential. How private data centers provide security. For many companies, the solution to the challenge of data security is hiring a private data center. The private data center is then responsible for providing secure storage for this important data, freeing the company to focus on other areas of business that are integral to success. Private data centers usually have multiple layers of data security. Physically, private data center buildings usually have security guards and surveillance cameras to watch over the important data around the clock. Card key access is required for physical entry into private data centers, providing a record of who has access to sensitive information. Many companies find that they value the peace of mind of having data protected at a private data center. It eliminates the hassle and expense of putting proper security features in place, training existing staff, and hiring new dedicated staff. And knowing that important information is secure helps companies focus on their own products and services. Conclusion. Big data in an effective, rational, and intelligent way will be able to drastically enhance their level of productivity and competitive edge, and this way improve the quality of life of citizens. In other words, governments and large enterprises should focus on applying big data technology as a development tool, instead of keeping it regional or local and only of interest to business areas. The term big data, although legitimate, in that it is referring to new ways of processing large amounts of data, is misleading due to the fact that size is part of the name. But size types, small, medium, large, are not constants, and they change over time. What was considered large data set 20 years ago may fall into the small data category today. All data should be treated as big data, if we want to use that term, and structured, semi-structured, unstructured is not that relevant. Quality of data is more important than the quantity or speed at which we generate and receive it. This is true in every industry and every aspect of life. Refined data is valuable data. Data in raw form is a commodity that must be refined by humans using sophisticated tools that are made easy to use. Drunkers said that if you cannot measure it, you cannot manage it. Thanks again for buying my book. If you have a minute, please leave a review. I take all reviews seriously and always look at them. This way, you are helping me provide you better content that you will love in the future. The review doesn't have to be long, just 1 or 2 sentences, and a number of stars you find appropriate, hopefully 5, of course. Also, if I find your review is helpful, I will mark it as helpful. This will help you become more known on Amazon as a decent reviewer and ensure that more authors will contact you with free ebooks in the future. This is how we can help each other. You can also look at these books too: Data Analytics, Data Mining, Data Science for Business. Disclaimer. This information is provided as is. The author, publishers, and/or marketers of this information disclaim any loss or liability, either directly or indirectly as a consequence of applying this information herein, or in regard to the use and application of said information. No guarantee is given, either expressed or implied, in regards to the merchantability, accuracy, or acceptability of the information. The pages within this ebook have been copyrighted. This has been Big Data: Analytics in Revolution for Business and Science, written by David Feldspar, narrated by Jason R. Gray. Copyright 2018 by David Feldspar. Production copyright 2018 by David Feldspar.